In this video, I'm going to be showing you all the production secrets behind SZA's new album, SOS. We're going to be making 3 beats inspired by 3 different songs on the project. Let's start with an R&B guitar beat inspired by the song Blind. This track starts off with a simple arpeggiated guitar chord progression, so I did something similar for our beat. I wanted to give it a nostalgic feel, so I started with a clean guitar amp. After that, I added an EQ, compressor and spring reverb, followed by a short slap delay, flanger and shaper box. Next, I run the same guitar through my Montreal Assembly Count to 5 pedal. The setting I used kind of delayed the sound and took it out of time. So I added a shaper box, EQ, reverb and panman, turning it into an ambient texture that we put on top of the original guitar. Next, I wanted to take inspiration from the hook section of Blind. Not from the beat, but actually from SZA's vocals. There's what sounds like an automated formant shifter on them, which gives it a really woozy sound. This gave me the idea to record some vocal chops and process them in the same way. As always, I added an alter boy, but this time I automated the formant knob so it goes up and down without actually changing the pitch. To finish the vocals, I lowered the sample rate, duplicated them and time stretched them to make them faster. Underneath the guitar, I added a bass line using a real bass guitar. To finish off the sample, I added 2 textural elements, one of which is this seaside texture, and I also chopped up this perk loop. All that's left was some boom bap style drums. To get a natural swing like you can hear on Snooze and Open Arms, a good idea is to shift your drum sounds off grid. After that, I layered 2 kicks. And finally, these hi-hats. For our next beat, I wanted to take inspiration from Seek and Destroy. As you can hear, the beat is darker than what SZA would usually use. So first I put down these simple chords with the Rhodes. On top of that, we have a detuned synth melody. Now this is in mono and pan to the right, leaving room for a piano, which I pan to the left. Next, I wanted to take inspiration from another song on the project, which is called Used. Dahi, the producer of the track, did a breakdown on his live stream showing all the different elements of the beat. The one thing that stood out to me the most were these glitchy synth textures.
Kind of hitting these like reflection sounds over top of like the initial sound.
So I opened up Analog Lab, went into Technicolor, chose this preset and put down this melody. After that, I chopped it up a bit and pitched it down an octave. Next is a bass line. Now I originally played an entire bass line on the bass guitar. However, I thought that the synth bass would add a darker vibe. So I added that and kept some parts from the bass guitar, leaving us with this bass line. Now the drums on Seek and Destroy have lots of jumpy percussion, so I did a very simple hi-hat pattern with a delay and then these perks. Next we have a snare and a tom layered together. To finish it all off, we have a kick and an extra snare. I think everyone was surprised to hear SZA rapping on tracks like SOS and Smoking on My X-Pac.
Roll the clip and run it back, I'm really like that. I'm really not friendly, I need my credit, niggas hate that.
They sampled Open Up Your Eyes by Webster Lewis.
You can trust in me.
So the main element of the Webster Lewis sample is this Rhodes, so we put down this progression. I used a similar ascending chord progression and also took the same bounce of the chords for our sample, and you'll see why this is important for the drums later on. Next, I wanted to replicate the percussion in the sample. You can hear some bongos, a tambourine, and a very light rim shot. A very important element of the sample is this electric guitar hit. I used the Evolution Strawberry contact bank and then I processed it with an Amplitube, giving it a washed out feeling. And finally, we have some vocals. To process it, I added an altar boy and a reverb, a King's microphone to give it a more vintage sound, and finally an EQ and delay. Now it sounds good, but I wanted to chop it up a bit more like Jay Versace did on Smoking on My X-Pac. First, I stretched the sample out using this knob. It gives it a slowed down, warped kind of feeling. Now all that's left is the drums. I started with the 808, putting in this pattern. Now you can see why I said earlier about how the chords are played is very important because it dictates the bounce of the song. Next we have a kick. Now for the snares, I took inspiration from Forgiveless, the outro track of SOS. This beat has a very heavy boom bap style snare. And finally, to finish it all off, we have this hi-hat leaving us with this final beat.